welcome to the Revolutionize podcast. I'm Peggy Caruso. I am the owner of Life Coaching and Beyond, a certified executive and personal development coach, author of 4 books, and an 8-time entrepreneur. So welcome. The reason that we are having this podcast today is because I wanted to share some exciting news that my book will be launched tomorrow. My new book is called Take the First Shot. It's strategies to fire you up and change your life. So I have some wonderful people here who have helped me with my book and my book launch. And so we thought we would do a little roundtable discussion, and hopefully you will see how this book could benefit you. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so everybody just do a quick intro of your name and you know who you are and what we do. So you go first, Bob.
I'm Bob Hallstrom.
I'm Nikki Yozo. I'm also a life coach.
And I am Valerie Armanini, mother of 2.
Awesome.
And all members of the book bunch, we call ourselves.
And also, Deanne Petritis is on our team, but unfortunately she could not make the podcast. So we miss you, Deanne, and you've been a wonderful help. So let's begin by talking a little bit about the book. I wrote this book. My other books are Revolutionize Your Life, Revolutionize Your Child's Life, and Revolutionize Your Corporate Life. I have my books trademarked to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and this book is still part of the Revolutionize series, but it's called Take the First Shot. And the reason I wrote it is because I deal with so many people and in the media as well. And everybody is always looking for what we call a quick fix. Just give me something to help me. So we all know that you cannot solve a major problem in less than a minute, but you can have strategies and techniques in place to get you started in less than a minute. And that's what's great about this book. It's filled with a lot of hooks and tips to help you get started. So Val, what did you find that you liked about the book?
Well, I think as I began reading the book, I began to recognize things in my own life that maybe I could enhance or make a little bit better for my children or my husband, relationship-wise, and definitely in balance-wise. So I really appreciated that and started to make those changes immediately. And it was very effective. And I really got sparked, and I don't know, it just kind of started changing things for us.
Well, good. Thank you for that. Before we go on anymore, the chapters include relationships, because that's the first chapter, the ebb and flow of relationships. And we all know that, the relationships always start out really well. So this is for people who have been married or in a relationship for a long time. It's if you're struggling, it's if you want to get started, it's how to maintain it and keep it going. There's a chapter on parenting to help us. The children have so many issues in today's society because of technology, bullying, cutting, all those issues. So it's some good parenting things to help you get your kids back on track. There's a chapter on personal development, because we all need that. Just something to help you grow and correct different areas in your life, start beginning making changes. There's work-life balance, because we all need goals and we need to learn how to balance between family and career. There's a chapter on friendships, because we all have the same challenges in friendships that we do with relationships with our significant other or our children. And there's a chapter on elderly care, because I see that is a huge problem of how do you deal with your elderly loved ones as they change and they become weak, or they go through Alzheimer's, or they have cancer. It's just little things that you can do to kind of help bring you back around and make the transition easier for them. So with that being said, Bob, what did you feel that you got the most out of the book?
Well, as a father, I'm always interested in any guidance I can get on the help with the challenges of raising children in this day and age. And although you wrote a book before, specifically donated to children in particular, I did like the chapter in this book that was specifically about children and some of the pointers that will help you make your children turn into better adults, such as teaching them some basic financial lessons. I love the phrase "park the bulldozer," which is kind of the next phase of what we know as helicopter parents. Bulldozer parents basically plow out all the obstructions and challenges in a child's life and try to pave the way for them. And that is not how life works, and that does not properly prepare your child for life. So there's great pointers in there for raising a better child.
So Val, you said you have 2 children. Did you find that beneficial too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I just had to smile when I heard Bob say that because that hit home. Absolutely.
How about you, Nikki? You have a son. Did you feel that it was, significant? What do you feel about the financial part of that chapter? Did you think that it was good to, there's a part in that chapter, it's called, or hook in there, that's called Close the Bank. Like, stop giving children your money and have them use their own earnings. How do you feel about that, and how do you apply that with your son?
I like the save, spend, and share portion. So I try to teach my son all the time that we need to give to the less fortunate, and then you can save some of your money, and then you can spend some of your money. He's really good about sharing, but it just makes you aware.
Yes, I love that. That's why I put that in there, because I think it's really important. And I help a lot of kids with all of that. So what else about the book, Val, did you find that was helpful?
Well, another part that I appreciated as I read it, and although my parents still have their minds, they're very sharp yet, but when I read the part on elder care, it really hit home that we do need to sometimes reinvent the relationship with our parents. Because now I find myself doing a little more for them in guiding them along the way and reminding them of things that they may have forgotten to do. And so I love the thought process of reinventing the relationship. It's no longer they are your caregiver. You sometimes now are their caregiver. And that really helped me to focus a different way of thinking about my relationship with my parents. And I've passed that information on to friends as well.
My parents are gone now, but I spent the last several years helping to take care of them. And a lot of the information in there hit home with me, particularly the part of how it affects your family,
Oh,
the
yes.
rest of the family, and balancing the caregiving obligations and some of the challenges that occur when parents pass on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nikki, how about, let's go back to chapter 1. You have been married for a long time, and how do you feel that chapter, what did it do for you?
Well, the best part of my favorite part of the chapter is lighten the load, because I feel like we all get in a routine when we're all super busy, but we come home, we all do the same things. Like, somebody's in charge of the laundry and dinner, and sometimes you just don't have time to do the part that you normally do. So when your spouse jumps in, it's important, to thank them. And
Yeah, I would agree with that. I absolutely do. Val,
I do too.
you balance a lot of your husband working and coming home and the kids coming home from school. And how do you feel about all that? That's the work-life balance. Do you feel that can be challenging at times?
Oh, it's definitely challenging, especially with 2 teenagers. Sometimes they think that just things are magically done, and you just have to reel them back in and, make sure that you continue to delegate and teach them this is a life. This is life. This isn't just, taking advantage of someone. You need to chip in and be a part of a family.
There's a great suggestion in there about work-life balance, about inviting yourself to dinner, which I like that. I like that one because in today's environment, if you will, everybody's so attached to their cell phones, social media, and everybody's lives are so busy that even the family dinner hour is becoming a thing of the past. And how important that is to reconnect with your family, turn your phones off. Everybody learn a little bit about each other, what happened during their day. An important thing to maintain going forward. It's something that we've lost in our society.
How about personal development? How do you guys feel about that? Like I say all the time, and I mean it, I could tell you exactly what I do. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I always say I work on myself every day. And I don't just say that. I actually do apply a lot of the things in the personal development of making changes. It's part of it is recognizing what role you play. Like, I'm not afraid to say, wow, I can't believe I just did that. You know, sometimes you have to take a step back when someone is angered and own the part that you play in it. And if it's not solely what you've done, how can you help bring the situation back around and avoid the argument? Thoughts, anyone?
I believe in that the chapter about personal development, you mentioned something that I hear quite often is the importance of communication.
Oh yeah, we all know I'm a communicator.
In every aspect of your life, and the importance of that. I know you're the expert on communication, and teach it to us all.
How about you, Val? What did you feel about the personal development?
So I believe that in the personal development section or chapter that I really appreciated reading about saying affirmations every day to yourself in the positive tense. For example, I can, I will, I'm grateful now that, and I have been practicing this, and it definitely can make changes in our mind for the positive, because those negative influences are just so strong in our minds that if we can constantly flip it, I feel like it does make changes once you give it a chance, give it a shot.
Absolutely. And I always say, start by tricking your mind, but you can't trick your mind. So there it is, controversial. But the reason you do that is because if you continually train your mind to act as if you've already accomplished it, especially with goal setting, your mind starts to train and become very strong, just like physical exercise of sit-ups makes you stronger. Positive affirmations are huge in making your mind stronger. And in also doing that, excuse me, we have like gratitude and journaling. And Nikki, what do you find helpful for you?
I loved to do the positive affirmations and journaling. I also taught my son to journal every day. And so every day he goes through the day looking for things that he can write for the next day about things that make him happy and grateful. So it makes you more aware of the positive things around you.
Oh, Nikki, great example. So let's talk about that for a second. So when Nikki's talking about that, get your kids to go to school looking for something fun. I remember Nikki telling me a story that she had her son go to school and she says, okay, what was great today? Instead of focusing on what was negative. And if they say something negative, doesn't that help to turn it around? Do you feel like it does?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And journaling is good for many reasons. It releases your emotions. It lets you communicate anger, frustration, happiness, whatever. And it
also teaches the kids how to turn it around themselves. Instead of us trying to fix all their problems, they begin to learn how to work on their own problems. Not that we don't step in and help them when they can't, but it's important for them to learn how to start to do that themselves.
Right.
I love what you said about he starts thinking about in his day what he can write in his book. So that's always keeping his mind thinking on the positive that he can journal. That's beautiful.
Yes. So back to relationships, though, and whether it's friendships or children or whatever, relationships, and I'd be anxious to see how you guys chime in on this, but relationships are hard and they're not hard. I always say it takes less than a minute a day to have a healthy relationship. And the reason I say that is, let's say we'll use significant others. Let's say you start, you just start in a relationship and we'll pick on the husbands. How about that? Let's say he opens the car door, he buys flowers, he writes a note, he does all these things. She's spoiled, she loves it, she loves the attention. And then, a couple years down the road, he stops opening the door. What does she say? She comes in my office and she says, but it's okay because he still buys me flowers, he still writes a note, blah, blah, blah. And then the next year he quits doing something else. So whether it's the man, the woman, I'm just having fun with you guys out there. But no matter who it is, and even if it's with children, as you start to take something away, after so many years, I can't tell you how many people come in and say, we don't have anything left. We don't do anything together. He doesn't do what he used to do. Okay, so less than a minute a day, there are so many strategies that I have given to help you, just small things. How do you guys feel about that?
I love it. I send Post-it notes in the lunchbox, and maybe a good night message when, like, if I'm going out of town, they'll pull the sheets down, and there's a note on the pillow.
I used to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Just ways to reconnect, to just reminders.
But as Peggy said, it really only takes a minute or less to do something significant to improve a relationship. And let's not forget, too, that relationships are not necessarily with your significant other.
Right.
But you have relationships with your children, you have relationships with your coworkers, you have relationships with your friends. All of these can benefit from some of these actions. It takes hard work at times to maintain all of these relationships that you have.
Do you ever get up in the morning and you're really rushed, right? Or let's say you're angry with your child or your significant other. If you focus on what that person does right instead of what they do wrong, it's really easy to turn it around. Focus on something that they do that's good. We all do stuff that's irritants, but you can also find plenty to say that's a positive. Nikki, do you feel the same way too?
Yeah, I guess I'll go back to the relationship part, because this is where it helped me. I'm really set in my ways on how I do things. And the other day, my husband went and did the laundry. Now, I'm really fussy when it comes to my laundry. So my first instinct was, wow. And then I'm like, you know what? No, thank you for doing the laundry. Like, you took initiative to do that, and I truly appreciate it. So it just makes you realize how quickly, we can get.
Yeah, angered, and how quickly you can turn it around to a positive.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that in the book, too, about one of the things to assist in relationships is losing your hypersensitivity.
Oh, yes, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Because it can trigger negative feelings, it can trigger arguments. We can all lose a little bit of our hypersensitivity to different aspects of our life.
So we're running low on time, but I did want to just touch briefly on the friendship chapter as well, because we're talking about all these things with relationships and children and work-life balance and all this family stuff and elderly care, but friendships too, sometimes we take them for granted. I always say, a true friend is someone that you can just be yourself with. You don't have to lie to. You don't have to make up an excuse if you don't want to go. You just say, hey, I'm not going to go. I mean, Val, you always talked about the pen and pencil thing.
Yes.
You want to say something about that? Because I thought that was really a good idea.
Oh, thank you. Yes. When I make plans with friends, I always say I'm going to pencil it in, because we never know in life what's going to happen the next day or in the next week. And I always want to be the easy friend. Yes. I always, I think that's very important, that we're the easy friend, that someone can approach you and feel like if they just aren't up for something that day, it's so easy for them to say, you know what, I'd rather stay home in my PJs today. I really don't want to meet you for lunch or, get together. I just think it's important that we all accept each other for where we are in a given day, because there's a lot that happens in our busy lives.
I would agree, and we are unfortunately out of time, but I hope that we have helped you realize how many different things in life cause us angst, or we have obstacles, but there's so many wonderful things too. So if you're interested in purchasing the book, it launches tomorrow and you can find it on Amazon. Again, the name is Take the First Shot. And so take the first shot for yourself, whether you buy the book or you don't buy the book, and think about what we talked about. And the most important thing is that you begin to make positive changes for all your relationships. And I want to thank everybody who helped me that's part of my team, and just all of my friends and all of my clients and everyone in my life. So I'm really grateful that you joined in on this podcast. And if you need to check out any information, you can always go to my website at lifecoachingandbeyond.com. Thank you.